Hello, biology. This is a video to walk you through how to do the Understanding Hypotheses assignment. We're going to do one question from each part and work through it together. And if you have any questions afterwards, please chat me on Teams or email me at hmcgrath@psdschools.org and we can work together on it. Okay, so it's talking about you have the independent variable and then the dependent variable. And so if you remember from hypotheses, the independent variable is the variable that is the change. It's what you are trying to test out, what you are hoping to see an effect from. And so it's the thing you are going to be able to manipulate or change. Think independent. It stands alone, right? It has an impact on other things, but other things don't impact it. The dependent variable is the result or the thing that is impacted by the independent variable. So if you are a dependent to your parents, because you are probably still a minor, then you are impacted by what they decide to do. If they decide that you are going to go to the grocery store, you don't have a choice. You end up going with them, especially if you don't drive yet, right? And so you would be the dependent variable. You are the thing that's being impacted upon. Your parent is the independent variable. They would be the one that is making the decision to go to the grocery store. Everyone's favorite place, right? Not mine. But that kind of gives you a good way to figure out which variable we're talking about. So if we scroll down and look at part 1, it says for the following hypotheses, so they're giving you hypotheses, you're going to identify the independent variable and the dependent variable. So all you have to do is figure out which is independent and which is dependent and then write those out. And so I would recommend using the abbreviations IV for independent variable and DV for dependent variable so I know exactly what you do and don't understand and make sure that I can tell what your answers are. So let's look at the first one. If a student holds their breath longer, then the amount of carbon dioxide they exhale will increase. And so we're going to start with the independent variable. Oops. And so remember, the independent variable is the variable that is changed. So if the student holds their breath longer, then the amount of carbon dioxide they exhale will increase. So we're seeing two changes there. Two things are being manipulated, but one is causing the change in the other. And I'll give you a hint. In a hypothesis, if it's written correctly, usually the independent variable comes first because it's the change we're making. It's the independent one. And then the dependent variable is second because it is the effect of that change. So in this case, if a student holds their breath longer, so we're saying we're going to have the student hold their breath longer than they normally would, and then we will measure the amount of carbon dioxide they exhale. So the independent variable, the thing that we are changing as the experimenter, is the amount of time they hold their breath. So I'm going to say length of holding breath. Obviously, that's not a complete sentence, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be, right? This is just a variable. Okay, the dependent variable is then the impact that it has. And if we look at the second half of that hypothesis here, we notice that there's going to be a change or a result in the amount of carbon dioxide. Oops, spelling is important. And let's say the amount of carbon dioxide exhaled, right? Because we want to be specific. And so that's all you have to do for part 1. You are just identifying the independent and the dependent variable. Part 2 on this worksheet, you're now going to create a hypothesis using two variables. So you get to be creative with this here. So let's look at number 5 together. And so if we look at the instructions, it says for the following independent variables and dependent variables, construct a hypothesis that proposes an explanation for a possible relationship between them. Remember to include predictive words, that's our if. So if we do this and then this will happen. And use the correct format. And I am very picky about hypothesis formats. So I always start by setting it up with if, and then kind of what we need to fill in. So what's going to happen, comma, then what will be the result, period. So we're writing a full sentence. So let's say we've got the amount of caffeine is our independent variable, so that's the one we can change. The heart rate of children is what will be the result. So we're going to predict if we change the amount of caffeine kids consume, then something is going to happen to their heart rate, and we get to make our best guess here. So I'm going to say if the amount of caffeine is, and it's your choice here, I'm going to go with decreased. So we're saying we're denying them caffeine, so they're getting less than typical. Then what's going to happen? I think I'm going to say if we are denying them caffeine, then their heart rate's going to slow down, right? Because they're probably tired and their brains will want to go to sleep. So I'm going to say then the heart rate, oops, of children will decrease. And so let's take a quick look at that. If the amount of caffeine is decreased, then the heart rate of children will decrease. Does it make sense? Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's logical, right? If we give people less caffeine, then their body kind of calms down, so their heart rate might calm down. And can we test it? Looks like it. We could experiment on children. We don't experiment on children, but in theory, it's testable. And so that is a properly written hypothesis, and it is actually scientific hypothesis because it can be tested, and it does make sense. All right, that is it for this assignment. Hopefully that gives you a good walkthrough. Do the other 3 problems in each part, and you'll be ready to turn this one in. Thanks, guys.